Medical experts, not politicians, should decide whether vaccination should be mandatory or not, EU Health Commissioner.
Here's a summary of the article.
Medical experts, not politicians, should decide whether vaccination should be mandatory or not, EU Health Commissioner Vytenis Andriukaitis told reporters on Thursday, adding that the only relevant objective is to reach maximum coverage. Andriukaitis was speaking at the launch of the Health at a Glance report, which compares the performance of national health systems across Europe. According to Andriukaitis, whether to opt for voluntary or mandatory vaccination is an artificial discussion that is absolutely useless, repeating his earlier claim that the only relevant issue is how to reach a maximum level of vaccination coverage. The Health at a Glance report said that vaccine-preventable diseases have resurged in some parts of Europe over recent years, pointing out the importance of promoting effective vaccination coverage for all children across all EU countries. The publication is indeed meant to assist the member states in improving the health of their citizens, and 7 countries requested a voluntary exchange to discuss the findings and share best practices after the launch of the previous State of Health in the EU. This is not another academic or statistical exercise but a tangible tool, Andriukaitis insisted. According to the evidence gathered within the report, up to 1/5 of health spending is inefficient and could be used for other care needs. Currently, health spendings in the EU account for 9.6% of GDP in the EU as a whole, up from 8.8% 10 years ago.
This post received a score of 25,013, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Lisa, the whole reason we have elected officials is so we don't have to think all the time. Homer Simpson.
And politicians have experts so they don't have to think all the time.
I think you misspelled lobbyists.
Touché salesman.
Shouldn't politicians be the ones to make the decision based on recommendations by medical experts? If a medical expert decides whether or not vaccines are mandatory, they at that moment become a politician by determining policy. My point is that being a medical expert and a politician are not mutually exclusive.
Theoretically they aren't mutually exclusive. Unfortunate that case can't be more prevalent in actuality though.
Well, there are multiple sub-questions involved in that question. One sub-question is medical but another is definitely political. The medical question is, what consequences are there of allowing people to choose not to vaccinate? The political question is, how valuable are those consequences compared to the freedom of choice given up to avoid them?
Also, how comfortable are we in allowing the unelected to dictate?
Medical, scientific experts should be behind every decision. Considering the left are often labeled as emotional and sensitive, it's ironic that it seems the left is the side most pushing for decision-making processes that inherently remove emotional involvement. Science can help us determine effective policies to achieve our goals, but it can't really tell us what our goals should be or how we should prioritize our goals. Our goal of having a healthy population must be balanced with our goal of having individual liberties. It's the scientist's job to evaluate how effective a policy is at achieving a goal, and the elected leader's job to balance various priorities in a way that people find optimal. Now, certainly there are times where elected leaders are just bad at adopting policies that achieve their stated goals. No, this is wrong. Experts advise, they do not rule. Politicians are elected to represent us, experts are not. Well, what it is that the politicians have decided that maximum coverage is the goal, this is the policy, and this dude thinks that is where the decision-making should end, with the details of how best to implement left to experts rather than non-expert politicians. It doesn't seem that different to normal government process for less contentious issues. For example, they might decide to build a new bridge but would leave the details of how wide, where exactly to locate it, who is the contractor, what materials are used, the design, etc. to experts in these matters.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.